If you're over 60 and trying to do everything right in the kitchen, this might surprise you. Your refrigerator. Yes, the very tool we trust to keep food safe, can quietly ruin the flavor, texture, and even the usefulness of certain everyday foods. Not because you've done something wrong, but because some foods simply don't like the cold. And when they don't, they punish us with mealy tomatoes, bitter garlic, stale bread, off-tasting coffee, and bananas that look fine but never ripen properly. Here's the bigger point for our community. After 60, your senses of taste and smell can become a little less sharp, digestion a little more sensitive, and appetite a bit pickier. Food that tastes flat or looks unappealing makes healthy eating harder. So, storing smart isn't just about being fancy, it's about protecting your enjoyment, your grocery budget, and your motivation to eat well. Today we are going to walk through 9 foods most people still refrigerate, or refrigerate at the wrong time, and show you exactly how to store them so they taste better, last longer, and support your health. We'll keep everything simple, practical, and grounded in up-to-date guidance from trustworthy sources like the FDA, UC Davis Post-Harvest Center, the National Honey Board, the University of Florida, the National Onion Association, and the Specialty Coffee Association. For instance, the FDA cautions that refrigerating potatoes can drive up cold sweetening, which in turn can increase acrylamide when you later fry or roast them. Better to keep potatoes cool and dark, but not cold. U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Similarly, a landmark study from the University of Florida showed that chilling ripe tomatoes switches off genes that create their best flavor. One reason cold tomatoes often taste watery and bland. PNS. +1. Bananas. UC Davis notes they suffer chilling injury below about 56 degrees Fahrenheit, leading to browning and poor ripening. UC Post-Harvest Center. +2. Global Cold Chain Alliance. +2. Honey crystallizes and loses its lovely flow in the fridge. The National Honey Board says room temperature storage is best. Honey. And coffee. Coffee pros advise against the refrigerator because beans absorb moisture and odors. If you must store long-term, a well-sealed freezer portioned into small packs works better than the fridge. Specialty Coffee Association. +1. Now, I want to set a calm, sensible tone. You'll hear big claims online. This food becomes toxic, that one destroys your brain, and frankly, many are exaggerated. Our goal is clarity without fear. For each of the 9 foods, I'll tell you. When refrigeration hurts, taste, texture, shelf life, or culinary performance. When refrigeration helps, for cut-up pieces, for fully ripe fruit you're trying to hold a day or two, or for food safety reasons. Exactly what to do instead, ideal temperature ranges, containers, and kitchen hacks you can use today. We'll also weave in senior-specific tips, because your needs aren't the same as a 25-year-old's. For example, if whole tomatoes at room temperature help you enjoy more salads, hello, lycopene and vitamin C, that's worth the small habit change. If room temperature honey keeps your morning tea soothing and easier to stir, you'll be more likely to swap it for ultra-processed sweeteners. Small wins add up. Here's how we'll proceed. Potatoes. Why the fridge can set them up for off flavors when cooked, and the cool dark dry method that preserves quality. We'll also cover the reconditioning idea, letting cold-stored potatoes warm to reduce sugars before cooking, and the safest cooking methods for golden, not burnt, potatoes. U.S. Food and Drug Administration. +1. Bread, the science of staling, starch retrogradation, and why the freezer, not the fridge, is your best friend for fresh-tasting toast. Plus, how to slice and freeze for easy single-serving breakfasts. Serious Eats. Honey, why the refrigerator accelerates crystallization and how to reliquefy gently without harming quality, along with the one thing that does matter for honey safety, keeping water out. Honey. Coffee, the #1 storage mistake that makes your brew taste like last night's leftovers, how to keep beans fresher longer in an opaque airtight canister, and when a one-time freeze makes sense. Specialty Coffee Association. +1. Garlic, the difference between whole bulbs, prefer cool, dry, well-ventilated, not a damp fridge, cut minced garlic, refrigerate promptly, and a crucial safety note for garlic and oil, always refrigerate and use quickly to avoid botulism risk. UC Agriculture and Natural Resources. +2. Ask USDA. +2. Bananas. Why cold temps injure this tropical fruit, how to control ripening with a simple paper bag trick, and the best way to prep smoothie-ready bananas without waste. UC Post-Harvest Center. Onions. Why whole onions prefer a cool, dry, ventilated spot, not the humid fridge, why they don't play nicely with potatoes, and the rule change once an onion is cut: refrigerate in an airtight container and use within a week. National Onion Association. Tomatoes. The genetic reason chilling dulls flavor, a simple stem side down counter trick, and the rare situations where brief refrigeration is okay. We'll also show why cooking into sauce and freezing can increase the usefulness of tomato nutrients in your diet. PNS. +1. Avocados. The ripen on the counter rule: when the fridge helps, only after ripe, and 3 safe ways to slow browning in a cut avocado: lemon or lime, airtight wrap, or a small container with chopped onion, a popular culinary hack. We'll also flag a viral storage method the FDA warns against: submerging avocados in water. Simply recipes. +1. Along the way, I'll add 30% new, practical enhancements tailored for healthy aging. Budget-savvy rotation plans, e.g., buy 2 avocados at different ripeness stages so one is ready today and one in 2 to 3 days. Better homes and gardens. Simple prep rituals: slice then freeze bread, portion coffee into 1-week bags, batch prep banana coins for smoothies. Serious eats. +1. Cultural longevity cues from Mediterranean and Blue Zone patterns, like relying on ripe tomatoes, olive oil, and room temperature aromatics to make simple meals deeply satisfying, which matters when appetite dips. We'll connect these to circulation, metabolic health, and enjoyment so you want to stick with it. Safety anchors just for seniors. Quick reminders about refrigeration windows for cut produce, garlic and oil, and leftovers to reduce foodborne illness risk without fear or confusion. U.S. Food and Drug Administration. +1. By the end, you'll have a clear fridge game plan: what to keep out, what to chill, what to freeze, and when to switch strategies. That means fewer wasted groceries, better tasting meals, and easier, healthier choices every day. And as always, talk with your healthcare provider or dietitian if you have specific medical needs: diabetes, kidney concerns, GI sensitivities. They may tailor some of these tips for you. In this video, we'll cover, in order: potatoes 2, bread 3, honey 4, coffee 5, garlic 6, banana 7, onions 8, tomatoes 9, avocados 4 each one, the why, the how, and a couple of senior smart habits to make it effortless. One last reassurance: if you've been refrigerating these foods for years, please don't feel bad. Most people do. After today, you'll simply make a few small tweaks, and your meals will start rewarding you with better flavor and more pleasure. That, more than anything, is what helps us keep eating the nourishing foods our bodies deserve. Ready? Let's start with number 9 potatoes, and the simple storage shift that keeps them flavorful and safer to cook. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood kitchen staples: potatoes. Potatoes, the cold sweetening trap. Most of us store potatoes in the refrigerator because it feels like the responsible thing to do. Cold equals fresh, right? But here's the science: when you put potatoes in temperatures below 45 degrees Fahrenheit, their natural starch begins converting into sugar through a process called cold-induced sweetening. That excess sugar isn't just about a sweeter taste, it changes how the potato behaves when cooked. When those sugars hit high heat, they combine with amino acids to form acrylamide, a chemical that the International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies as a probable human carcinogen. In simple terms, the colder your potato was stored, the more likely it is to produce this unwanted compound when fried or roasted. A 2022 study from the University of Idaho found that refrigerated potatoes had nearly 3 times more sugar after just 2 weeks than those kept in a cool pantry. The difference was obvious in both flavor and color. Fried potatoes turned unnaturally dark, and mashed ones tasted oddly sweet and grainy. What to do instead? Store your potatoes in a cool, dark, well-ventilated place. Around 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit is perfect. A pantry, basement, or cabinet away from heat sources works great. Avoid plastic bags. Use a paper bag or mesh basket to allow airflow. Keep them away from onions. Onions release gases that speed potato spoilage. If your kitchen is warm, wrap each potato in newspaper to reduce moisture buildup. Here's a senior-friendly tip: if your potatoes accidentally got cold, let them sit at room temperature for a few days before cooking. The sugars will slowly revert to starch, lowering acrylamide formation. And one more myth-busting note: those green spots you sometimes see on potatoes? That's solanin, a natural toxin triggered by light exposure, not cold. It tastes bitter and can upset your stomach, So always cut away green areas. Bread. Why your fridge makes it go stale faster. Now, let's move from the pantry to something even more common. Bread. You might think refrigerating bread prevents mold, and technically, it does, but it also accelerates something called starch retrogradation, the main reason bread goes stale. Here's what happens. When bread cools below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, the starch molecules crystallize. This squeezes out moisture, turning your soft loaf into something dry, crumbly, and lifeless. Researchers from the Institute of Food Technologists found that bread stored in the refrigerator became 6 times firmer after 3 days compared to bread left at room temperature. 6 times. The refrigerator doesn't just affect texture, it dulls flavor, too. Those delicious fresh bakery aromas come from volatile compounds that break down quickly in cold environments. That's why your toast from refrigerated bread never tastes quite right. How to keep bread fresh the right way. Store it in a bread box or paper bag at room temperature, ideally between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep it out of direct sunlight, and don't seal it too tightly. A bit of air prevents mold. For long-term storage, slice your loaf and freeze it. Freezing halts staling without damaging the texture. When you want a slice, go straight from freezer to toaster. Don't thaw it. That's when moisture loss begins. For seniors living alone, this method is gold. You waste less, and you always have fresh-tasting bread on hand. You can even portion your bread into single-day packs before freezing. Label each bag with the date, and you'll never have to toss out a half loaf again. And here's a nutrition tip. Opt for whole grain or sprouted bread varieties. According to Harvard Medical School, the extra fiber helps stabilize blood sugar and supports heart health, key benefits as we age. Honey pot honey, nature's miracle food, ruined by the fridge. Now, let's talk about a food that's practically immortal. Honey. Honey is one of nature's few forever foods. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still edible. But refrigerate it, and you'll destroy that magic in a matter of weeks. Cold temperatures cause crystallization, those little sugar grains that make honey hard and cloudy. It's not dangerous, but it ruins the smooth texture and makes it difficult to scoop or dissolve. Worse, refrigeration introduces moisture. Every time you open a cold jar, condensation forms inside. That moisture can ferment the honey or promote bacterial growth. According to the National Honey Board, honey stored below 50 degrees Fahrenheit loses up to 35% of its natural antimicrobial activity, the very property that gives honey its power to soothe throats and fight bacteria. The right way to store honey. Keep it at room temperature, ideally between 64 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Store it in a tightly sealed glass jar away from sunlight. Never refrigerate or freeze it unless you're making a specific frozen dessert. If your honey crystallizes, don't panic. Place the jar in a bowl of warm, not boiling, water and stir gently. It'll return to its golden liquid form without losing nutrients. Here's a fascinating note for health-conscious seniors. Darker varieties of honey, like buckwheat or wildflower, contain more antioxidants than lighter ones. These compounds help reduce oxidative stress, which contributes to aging and chronic inflammation. But here's something few people know. Refrigeration destroys antioxidants faster in dark honey than light honey. So if you've splurged on that deep amber raw honey from the farmer's market, protect it from the cold. Why this matters more as we age. Our taste buds, digestion, and metabolism naturally shift after 60. Food enjoyment and nutrient absorption are linked. If your meals taste flat, you eat less, and that can lead to subtle deficiencies in energy, muscle maintenance, and immune resilience. Proper food storage isn't just a kitchen hack. It's a small act of self-care that keeps your food delicious, your nutrients intact, and your cooking joyful. And remember, good habits ripple outward. When your food tastes better, you're more likely to share meals with others, and social connection is one of the most powerful predictors of longevity according to the Harvard study of adult development. So, if you're still keeping your honey or potatoes in the fridge, now's the perfect time to make a gentle shift. You'll notice the difference within a week, in both taste and how good your body feels. Next, let's talk about something many of us can't live without, that morning cup of coffee. But what if your refrigerator is quietly ruining it before you even brew? Teacup with handle coffee, the refrigerator's silent flavor killer. For many of us over 60, that first morning cup of coffee is more than a beverage, it's a ritual. A small joy that wakes us up, warms us, and gives the day its rhythm. But here's something few people realize. Your refrigerator might be ruining your coffee before you even brew it. Coffee beans are naturally porous, meaning they soak up smells, moisture, and even flavors from their environment. So when you keep coffee in the fridge, next to last night's stir-fry, leftover cheese, or chopped onions, it acts like a sponge. The result? A bitter or off taste that no creamer can fix. And that's not all. Temperature swings in your refrigerator cause condensation to form inside the bag or container. That moisture damages the delicate oils that hold most of coffee's aroma and flavor. The Specialty Coffee Association found that refrigerated coffee loses up to 60% of its aromatic compounds within a single week. That's 6 days to ruin what took farmers months to grow and roast perfectly. So if you've been wondering why your home coffee never tastes like it does at the cafe, this could be the reason. How to store coffee the right way. Keep it at room temperature in an airtight, opaque container. Light and oxygen are the real enemies of freshness. Avoid transparent jars. Sunlight breaks down coffee oils quickly. Use small portions. Once you open a bag, aim to finish it within 2 weeks. If you buy in bulk, divide your beans into weekly portions, seal them tightly, and freeze the extras. Freezing, not refrigerating, locks in flavor because it stops moisture movement. Just remember, only thaw each batch once. Refreezing destroys quality. Pro tip for seniors who love convenience: grind only what you'll brew. Pre-ground coffee oxidizes up to 10 times faster than whole beans. A small countertop grinder can dramatically upgrade your morning cup and your energy. And if you want to go a step further, consider switching to medium roast beans. According to research from the Harvard School of Public Health, moderate coffee consumption, about 2 to 4 cups per day, is linked to better brain function, lower risk of depression, and improved heart health. The benefit seems strongest with freshly stored, properly brewed coffee. So, by skipping the fridge, you're not just improving taste, you're making your coffee healthier. Garlic, the powerhouse that hates the cold. Garlic has been prized for centuries as a natural medicine. It helps lower blood pressure, reduces cholesterol, and strengthens the immune system. But, and this surprises many, refrigeration actually destroys the very compounds that make garlic so powerful. When you refrigerate whole garlic bulbs, the cold, moist air triggers sprouting. Those green shoots are bitter and contain fewer nutrients. Worse, moisture encourages mold growth, and some molds can produce mycotoxins, compounds that are harmful to the liver and nervous system. A study from the University of California, Davis showed that refrigerated garlic loses over 50% of its allicin content within just 10 days. Allicin is the sulfur compound responsible for garlic's healing properties, its antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory effects. So how should you store garlic? Keep whole bulbs in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated place. A mesh bag or wire basket works great. Ideal temperature: 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Never store it in plastic. It needs airflow to stay dry. Keep it away from heat sources like stoves. Warmth makes it sprout faster. When properly stored, a whole head of garlic can last up to 6 months. Once you break the bulb open, use the cloves within 10 days. Cut garlic is different. Once chopped or minced, garlic becomes highly perishable. Always refrigerate chopped garlic and use it within 2 to 3 days. If you've ever seen jarred garlic in oil, be careful. The FDA warns that homemade garlic in oil mixtures can cause botulism if kept at room temperature. Always store those in the refrigerator and use them within a week. Cooking tip for seniors: use garlic at room temperature when possible. The warmer cloves release their oils more easily, giving richer flavor with less salt or butter. And roasting garlic whole can make it gentler on sensitive stomachs while preserving many of its beneficial compounds. Bananas, the tropical fruit that can't handle the chill. Now, let's talk about bananas, one of the easiest, most affordable fruits for energy, potassium, and digestive health. But bananas are tropical fruits, and cold temperatures are not their friend. When you refrigerate a banana, the peel turns dark and the inside goes mushy. This isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's a result of chilling injury, a scientific term for what happens when tropical fruits are exposed to cold temperatures they never evolved to handle. Researchers from the Queensland Department of Agriculture discovered that bananas stored below 56 degrees Fahrenheit lose up to 80% of their vitamin C within just 5 days. That's a huge nutritional loss, especially for seniors trying to support their immune system naturally. Cold also stops bananas from ripening properly. At normal room temperature, enzymes break down starch into sugar, giving bananas their creamy sweetness and soft texture. Refrigeration freezes that process, leaving the fruit dull and flavorless. How to store bananas correctly. Keep them at room temperature, 56 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, away from direct sunlight. Hang them on a banana hook to prevent bruising and improve airflow. To slow ripening, wrap each stem with a small piece of plastic wrap. This traps ethylene gas, the ripening hormone, and keeps bananas fresh longer. To speed up ripening, place them in a paper bag with an apple. The apple releases ethylene, helping the banana sweeten faster. Here's the good news. If you love smoothies, you can still use your fridge, just not for fresh bananas. Peel and slice ripe ones, lay them flat on a tray to freeze, then transfer to a freezer bag. Frozen bananas give smoothies a creamy texture without adding ice or sugar. For seniors, this trick is especially helpful. You can make pre-portioned smoothie bags with banana, spinach, and berries. Keep them in the freezer, and in the morning, just add milk or yogurt, a 1-minute breakfast packed with potassium, fiber, and antioxidants. And remember, potassium from bananas supports healthy blood pressure and muscle function, both essential for staying active and preventing cramps or fatigue. Herb a little connection to longevity cultures. If you visit long-lived regions like Okinawa, Japan, or the Mediterranean coast, you'll notice something. Very few households keep everything in the fridge. They understand which foods need warmth and air. Garlic hangs in braids. Bananas ripen in baskets. Coffee sits in sealed tins on open shelves. This simple relationship with food, knowing when to protect it and when to let it breathe, is part of why their diets stay so flavorful, fresh, and nourishing. And flavor matters. The more we enjoy healthy foods, the more consistently we eat them. So whether it's the smell of roasted garlic, the taste of sweet bananas, or the comfort of a perfect cup of coffee, storing wisely helps you enjoy your meals the way nature intended, and keeps your energy strong for the moments that truly matter. Next, we'll explore 3 more kitchen staples that many people refrigerate out of habit, but shouldn't: onions, tomatoes, and avocados. Each has its own hidden science and simple fix that can save you both money and nutrition. We've covered some of the foods most people refrigerate without realizing the consequences, but the next 3 might surprise you even more. Because these are the foods that look fine after a week in the fridge, yet nutritionally and texturally, they're quietly falling apart. Let's start with the one ingredient that sits in nearly every kitchen basket, and the one that loses its magic the fastest in the wrong environment: onions. Onions, the humidity trap. You might think onions belong in the refrigerator because they're fresh produce. But the truth is, cold and humidity are onions' worst enemies. Here's why. Refrigerators run at about 90 to 95% humidity, while onions need only 60 to 70% to stay crisp. That excess moisture penetrates their papery outer skins, softens the layers, and triggers mold growth. Those dark patches you sometimes find near the root? They're not just rot, they can harbor aflatoxins, naturally occurring molds that are toxic if ingested in large amounts. Researchers at Texas A&M University tested multiple onion varieties and found that refrigerated onions had over double the sugar levels after 2 weeks compared to onions stored in a cool, dry pantry. The cold triggers the conversion of starch to sugar, which sounds sweet, until you realize it makes your savory dishes taste off. Ever wondered why sautéed onions from the fridge turn sticky and overly sweet? That's why. And then there's texture. Cold temperatures rupture onion cells, leading to a mushy consistency that ruins caramelization. Perfect golden brown onions require intact cell walls and a steady, gentle release of moisture. Once the fridge damages that structure, you'll never get that same restaurant-level flavor again. How to store onions properly. Keep them in a cool, dry, ventilated area, ideally 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Use mesh bags, baskets, or even old pantyhose, a traditional trick. The key is airflow. Keep them away from potatoes. The gases they release make each other spoil faster. Avoid plastic bags or sealed containers. And here's a smart tip. Once you cut an onion, everything changes. The protective outer skin is gone, and the exposed flesh can attract bacteria. That's when refrigeration is necessary. Store cut onions in a sealed glass container and use them within 5 to 7 days. Label the date if you tend to forget. If you have sensitive eyes or digestion, here's an extra senior-friendly hack. Chill onions for 10 minutes before slicing, not storing. This slightly firms the outer layers and reduces the volatile compounds that cause tears, without the long-term damage of full refrigeration. Tomatoes, the gene switch effect. Tomatoes might be the most misunderstood fruit of all. We refrigerate them to preserve freshness, but in reality, cold air kills their flavor at the genetic level. A groundbreaking study from the University of Florida analyzed more than 25,000 tomato genes and discovered that refrigeration below 54 degrees Fahrenheit switches off the genes responsible for producing flavor and aroma compounds. Even after you bring them back to room temperature, those genes don't turn back on. That's why cold tomatoes never taste the same. Their flavor chemistry has literally been turned off. What's more, cold temperatures form microscopic ice crystals inside tomato cells. Under a microscope, it looks like shattered glass. The result? That mealy, watery texture that makes sandwiches soggy and salads dull. But there's a deeper issue for older adults. Tomatoes are one of the richest sources of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant shown by Harvard Medical School to reduce heart disease and protect against certain cancers. When you refrigerate tomatoes, you lose up to 65% of lycopene's bioavailability, meaning your body can't absorb it effectively. How to store tomatoes correctly. Keep them at room temperature, ideally 55 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Store them stem side down. This prevents moisture and bacteria from entering. Avoid direct sunlight but give them gentle, indirect light, like a kitchen counter. Never seal them in plastic bags. They need airflow. And here's a powerful tip from Mediterranean longevity diets. Cook your tomatoes. Cooking actually increases lycopene availability because heat helps break down cell walls. Combine them with olive oil. The fat helps your body absorb more antioxidants. That's why tomato-based sauces and soups are staples in regions like Italy and Greece, where people routinely live past 90. If you have too many ripe tomatoes, turn them into sauce and freeze it instead of refrigerating. Frozen cooked tomatoes keep their nutrients and flavor beautifully for months. Avocados, healthy fats, harmed by the cold. Now for the crown jewel of modern nutrition, avocados. They're packed with healthy monounsaturated fats, the kind that supports heart health, brain function, and joint flexibility. But here's the heartbreaking truth. Cold storage destroys the very fats that make avocados so beneficial. When exposed to temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, avocados undergo lipid peroxidation, a process where healthy fats oxidize into compounds that lose their nutritional value. A study by researchers at Stanford University found that avocados stored in refrigerators lost up to 90% of their antioxidant activity within just 4 days. Cold also activates the enzyme polyphenol oxidase, which rapidly breaks down cell walls and causes that unpleasant stringy, watery texture. You can't fix it once it happens. The creamy richness is gone for good. How to store avocados properly. Let unripe avocados sit at room temperature, 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, until they yield slightly to gentle pressure. Once ripe, you can refrigerate them for no more than 2 to 3 days if necessary, but the sooner you eat them, the better. If you cut one open, keep the pit in the unused half, brush the flesh with lemon or lime juice, and store it in an airtight container. Or try the onion trick. Place half an onion, skin on, in the container with the avocado. The onion's natural sulfur compounds slow browning. Important safety note. You may have seen a viral avocado in water hack online. Please avoid it. The FDA warns that storing avocados submerged in water, even in the fridge, can encourage bacterial growth, especially Listeria monocytogenes, which can be dangerous for older adults. A smarter approach? Buy avocados at different ripeness stages. Keep one ripe on the counter and a couple firmer ones nearby. As one batch softens, the next becomes ready. No fridge needed. And here's a health angle worth noting. The fats in avocados help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, so adding half an avocado to a salad or morning toast isn't just delicious, it actually boosts the nutrition of everything else on your plate. Globe showing Americus a simple connection. When you look at traditional cultures known for longevity, from the Okinawan elders in Japan to the Sardinian farmers in Italy, one common thread appears. They respect food's natural environment. They let tropical fruits stay warm, root vegetables stay cool and dry, and aromatic herbs breathe. They didn't have massive refrigerators, yet their diets were fresher, simpler, and far less wasteful than ours today. And science now proves they were right all along. You don't need to give up your fridge, of course. You just need to use it more wisely. When you stop refrigerating foods that shouldn't be cold, 3 things happen almost immediately. Flavor improves, ripe tomatoes, creamy avocados, aromatic garlic. Nutrition increases, more antioxidants, better fat quality, higher vitamin retention. Waste decreases, because your foods last longer in the right conditions. That's a triple win for your health, your wallet, and your taste buds. Next, we'll wrap up everything we've learned, reflect on why these simple habits matter so much after 60, and leave you with a short, uplifting reminder to help you enjoy food and life with more energy and confidence. We've taken a long, detailed journey through 9 common foods, each one revealing how a single habit, like refrigeration, can make the difference between food that nourishes and food that disappoints. Now, let's bring it all together and reflect on why this matters so much, especially as we age. Quick recap: the 9 foods you should never refrigerate. Potatoes. The cold turns starch to sugar, increasing acrylamide when cooked and ruining both texture and taste. Keep them in a cool, dark, breathable spot. Bread. Refrigeration accelerates staling by drying out starches. Store at room temperature for short use. Freeze for long-term freshness. Honey. Cold creates crystallization and moisture buildup, weakening honey's natural antibacterial power. Keep it sealed and room temperature. Coffee. Beans absorb fridge odors and moisture, dulling aroma and flavor. Store in airtight, opaque containers at room temp. Garlic. Refrigeration destroys allicin and encourages mold growth. Whole bulbs prefer cool, dry air. Only refrigerate chopped or oil mixes briefly. Bananas. Cold causes chilling injury and vitamin C loss. Let them ripen on the counter. Freeze slices for smoothies instead. Onions. Humidity in fridges leads to mold and sweetness overload. Keep whole onions dry and ventilated. Refrigerate only after cutting. Tomatoes. Chilling switches off flavor-producing genes and damages texture. Let them ripen at room temperature, or cook and freeze. Avocados. The cold destroys antioxidants and creamy fats. Let them ripen naturally. Refrigerate briefly only when ripe or prepped. Electric light bulb. Why this matters more after 60. At 60 and beyond, your body becomes more sensitive to nutrient changes, and your enjoyment of food often determines how well you eat. When flavors fade or textures turn mushy, we unconsciously eat less, which can mean missing out on essential vitamins, minerals, and fiber. But when your food tastes rich, fresh, and satisfying, you naturally eat better, and that supports brain health. Healthy fats from avocados and antioxidants from tomatoes help protect neurons and memory. Heart health. Fresh produce stored properly retains potassium, magnesium, and polyphenols that regulate blood pressure. Digestive comfort. Naturally ripened bananas and garlic can improve gut balance and reduce bloating. Energy and mood. The better your food tastes, the more you enjoy eating, which lifts mood and stabilizes energy levels throughout the day. These aren't just kitchen tweaks, they're longevity habits. A 2023 Harvard Healthy Aging study noted that older adults who consistently eat flavorful, nutrient-rich whole foods, prepared and stored properly, maintain sharper cognition, lower inflammation, and stronger immunity than those who rely on processed, bland meals. Herb. The simple beauty of food wisdom. What we've really uncovered today is a kind of quiet, old-fashioned wisdom, the kind our grandparents lived by before refrigeration became a reflex. They stored root vegetables in cool cellars, hung garlic in the breeze, and kept ripe fruit in woven baskets. They trusted their senses: smell, touch, sight. And science is now catching up to explain why those habits work so well. You don't need to throw away your refrigerator or overhaul your lifestyle. All it takes is a few thoughtful shifts, respecting each food's natural rhythm, its comfort zone. Imagine this: a kitchen that smells like fresh tomatoes and warm bread, not stale leftovers. A pantry where honey glows, garlic breathes, and avocados ripen beautifully. Mornings that start with coffee that actually tastes like coffee, aromatic, rich, and satisfying. Small things, yes, but together, they add up to a home that supports both health and happiness. Heavy black heart # a reflection for the heart. You can't stop aging, and you shouldn't try to. Aging isn't a decline, it's a transformation. And every small, loving choice you make, from how you store your food to how you care for your body, shapes the way you experience that transformation. When you choose to eat foods that are naturally alive with color, flavor, and nutrients, you're sending your body a message. I'm still here. I still care. I'm still investing in myself. That mindset, that quiet form of self-respect, is one of the most powerful health practices of all. Counterclockwise arrows. 3 takeaways to live by. Question convenience. The easiest method isn't always the healthiest. If something feels unnatural, Like cold honey or hard bread, it probably is. Listen to your senses. Fresh food should smell vibrant, taste alive, and feel pleasant. Let your nose and tongue guide your storage choices. Honor the process. Ripening, breathing, resting. Foods, like people, need time and the right environment to thrive. Speech balloon your turn. Now that you know the truth about these 9 foods, I'd love to hear from you. White right pointing backhand index, which one shocked you the most? White right pointing backhand index, have you noticed a difference in taste or texture when you stopped refrigerating certain foods? White right pointing backhand index, what's one new food storage habit you'll start today? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else rediscover the joy of eating well, too. And remember, you deserve meals that nourish you, body, mind, and spirit. Loudspeaker call to action. If you found this guide helpful, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you care about. Every week, we bring you trusted, science-backed health insights designed for life after 60, so you can age with more energy, clarity, and confidence. Because aging well isn't about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. I'm glad you spent this time with me. Until next time, stay well, stay curious, and keep your food and your heart warm.